Well, it's a very good sort of dull-ish morning today, but we have a star in the big wide world of radio. But before, well, at the same time, Dave Lee Travis, good morning, and let's talk about your history, if you like, with drag racing in the UK and how you got involved with it. I know I've got a couple of questions for you. You had a lot of American cars to start with, which effectively, I guess, got you into drag racing.
Yeah, to a degree. I've always liked the American tanks. They've been, something that's appealed to me a lot in the past. And I don't know, I guess it really was a natural progression to look at those cars and then see what people did with them to race them,
Yeah,
to actually boost them. And that got me intrigued. So I did start there and started off in a gentle way, but went completely berserk, and then eventually ended up doing the quarter mile in the dragster, the needle, in 6.6 seconds, and I went across the line at 220 miles an hour. So yeah,
yeah,
that was pretty
it,
good.
yeah. We'll cover that in a minute. I've got to ask you about your London Proof Allegro.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, that was just so stupid. It was just one of those things. I bought the Allegro for my assistant at the time to use, and um, I don't know what came over me, but I decided that she got a different car at some point, and I thought, oh, let's have a bit of fun with this. And yeah, I hope you've seen it. Have you seen pictures of it?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I mean, it was outrageous. It was painted matte black. It had steel grills around all the windows. It had two rocket launchers on each one on each wing. It was marked up on the side of the wing with the amount of traffic wardens that were hit, um, and taxis and what have you. And it was just a completely berserk car, but it grabbed people's imagination and ended up being on the tea time show on television. They were fascinated by it.
Incredible. It was just something exceptionally. But that's the sort of mad thing that you used to do. I always remember back in the day, Saturday mornings, I think it was it the snooker show? Amazing. That was brilliant.
Yeah, the weekends has always been my favourite time to broadcast, um, and the snooker game was good fun. Pot of red and get 1 point, and then if you go for the black, you get seven. And of course, the questions are harder, so it worked quite well actually. It did
Yeah,
work.
very, very ingenious. But let's talk about your. I just wanted to cover that because I always remember that show. So yeah, so basically, with the drag racing side of things, I mean, you sort of got involved in drag racing, and then you got involved with the car tender trap, and then you was racing with the Stones as well. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. The Stones were brilliant. They trusted me.
yeah,
That was the first thing. Tender Trap was, some people might not know, but it was an escort that did 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds or something like that, or less. It was quite a fast car, and it was a good introduction to the real speedier side of drag racing. So I drove that for a while, having driven a car by John Ledster, who loaned me a car before that I drove, and it was great. And then eventually it came about, that I thought a dragster would be fun. But what was nice was that the needle, which is what it was called, was built specially for me. So
yeah.
it was wide. It was wide in the cockpit, because the one thing I hated was being squashed into the cockpit.
So
So I
yes,
wanted to lift
nowadays,
them.
yeah, nowadays that's slightly different, isn't it? You got to be a little bit on the wide side, but it's a little bit more
Yeah, but
secure now. Yeah.
then I needed room, and the shape of it was unusual. But it was, as I say, it ran sixes, so you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It was great fun, and I gained quite a reputation. I think probably I'm still the fastest DJ in Britain.
Well, yeah. Indeed. I mean, you got what was it, 6.6, 220 miles an hour. Very, very respectable at the time. I do feel.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And and look at some of the other racers cocked it up at the same time, but you got it right, and you did exceptionally well. There was you was around at the same time as the Tender Trap, obviously that, and the Hemi Hunter as well. The Hemi Hunter's coming back out very soon this year, actually. But yeah, so he was around that sort of time as well.
Yeah, I mean, the Hemi, I never got involved with that really, I guess. But it was the whole thing with the Stones team was that they were absolutely, they worked so hard to get things right. And I mean, I raced a couple of good people. I raced Ros Pryor.
Hmm.
I mean, she, yeah, wouldn't want to meet her in a dark alley. Yeah,
Oh, really?
she was great, but I beat her once. But I think she blew her engine. But that's the only reason I could beat her. But anyway, yeah, I had fun doing it, and I guess after I'd done that run of 6.6, I thought, I started to think about the cost involved, not the physical cost, but the cost to your health potentially.
Yeah,
Because you could have accidents
yeah.
doing that. And I think that's probably where I thought, now, come on, how much more do I want to do than 220 miles an hour?
Yeah, if let's let's just ask a question here. How old was you when you was actually doing that?
I would be about 35, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. Because even in there, like 6.6 and 220 mile, the G's you would have been fully. It would be back in the day, but it would have been pulling a positive G and a negative G when you're pulling the chutes at the other end. So that doesn't do your body much cop either, does it? Really? Let's be fair.
No, I suppose not. I suppose not. Maybe it makes the stomach suck in.
Yeah,
I could do with that.
yeah. Leslie Price says hello as well, by the way. You mentioned Roz, so that's really cool. Let's look at the BBC now. Obviously, the hierarchy on the top floor of the BBC would have been absolutely really, really wide because you guys were all like pop stars and superstars and everything else. But the people at the top there, with you doing this drag racing thing, I reckon they were not happy.
I don't know if they didn't make that clear.
Right.
Nobody came to me and said, "Oh, Dave, you shouldn't be doing it."
Oh, right.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I think they leave it to your own common sense to get out when you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they have to realize that once you've got it in your blood, that's it. You've got to get in that car and you've got to race. There's no getting out of it.
Yeah. I mean, you because of that side of things, you then got involved with the pictures and the writing and everything else in Custom Car Magazine. And then ultimately for the drag racing world, you then became a member of the British Drag Racing Hall of Fame as well, which must have been an exceptionally good honour for you as well.
That was really, really something. I mean, to be taken that seriously was an honour. You're right. It was. I didn't look on it lightly. I thought it was just. It was mainly, I guess, for the fact that I was racing and the fact that I was actually giving plenty of airtime
Yeah.
to racing, drag racing. I was actually getting it across on the radio. So
Yeah.
I was selling it for them.
You-
And I think that's probably the main reason why they put me in the Hall of Fame.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but you was also good at it as well, and then the people that you had been racing against, Dennis Priddle, bless him, and so many other people and all that. At that time, that was an incredible time. for the sport, and it was in some respects it was sort of mid, if you like, the mid part of the early days of drag racing. But
Yeah.
but what you did was highlight how important drag racing is to us in the UK, and then obviously it was a lot bigger. When the lights of coming over, other people coming over from the USA as well, and sharing it, and so when you was doing what you were doing, you was key to that time. And obviously, did you ever? This is a question for you. Did you ever want to jump into a funny car?
Into a funny car.
Yeah.
Hmm. Um, I can't really remember whether I did or not. I'm not entirely sure that I did. I think I'd switched off by then. I think funny. I watch funny cars moving down that strip and thinking, Jesus, they are all over the place.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure that's the way I want to go. But
especially when the lid's on your head and it's on.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah, it
same
could drive
engine.
you around the bend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So at that time, can you remember what was the size of your was it about 5 or 6 thousand horsepower at the time?
I can't remember, to be honest with you. I think it was probably less than that. It was probably maybe 4,000
Yeah,
horsepower. I'm
yeah.
not sure. I can't be sure on that, to be honest.
So that's cool. So let's talk about your memories then. Obviously, you mentioned Roz and obviously the Stones and so on. Uh, Give us some of your good memories of drag racing.
Well, first of all, the camaraderie.
Yeah,
Um, it was great. And in the early days, of course, uh, Santa Pod was not quite what it is now.
no.
The toilets were a ditch. I think everybody who went there knows that. And I had an American Winnebago motorhome. And the amount of people who wanted to come in there to use the toilet all the time was unbelievable. Um, yeah, I loved it. It was just great fun. Um, the people that you met there were superb. Um, you know, were, I mean, who was there? Who was there? Lord. So my brain is a bit addled at the moment, mate. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Richard Nichols, of course.
yeah, good man. Yep,
Um,
very good friend. Yep.
I like Richard. He was great.
I'm sure
I
he can give you a call now because he didn't have your number. I'm sure he'll
oh, I'm
give.
sure he had it. I was
Yeah,
sure he had it.
yeah. He knows where you live, but he doesn't know your number.
Oh,
That's. I'll get him.
well,
I'll pass it on to him, and then you can get him back in touch with him. I'm sure he doesn't live too far from you, actually. And I think that that would be nice to get in touch with him because there's
yeah.
some obviously good memories you would have had with him.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Brian Taylor,
yeah. Brian.
Brian
Yeah,
Taylor,
yeah,
you know,
and
he was great.
yeah, and the
Um,
chief starter and
mm,
everybody else. There's a lot of people that have passed now. A lot of people are still out there now, but there's a lot of people that was racing at that time. Alan
mm,
Bates and all of those guys. Just probably starting in those days as well would have been the Pages and so on. That was all very, very good times.
yeah, yeah, it was like everything else. In the beginning, you're feeling your way through it,
Yeah,
and sometimes it can get a bit too smooth after you've been running for a while. So I like the idea of the beginning of something like that when we were absolute babies at drag racing. All we knew was that the Americans were doing it and it was great fun. We should do it over here. We didn't quite know how to tackle it, but that was when it was exciting. That
yeah.
was when you could work out the best way of doing things, and in spite of the toilets not being there, it was it was nevertheless a great
It was like
it
you were
was a
actually
great
going to
set of things.
toilet and sending it down to Australia, if I remember rightly.
Sent what down to Australia?
Going to the loo.
Oh right,
It was a bit
yeah,
like that, wasn't it, really?
it was a bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But they're all good memories, aren't they? From back in the day.
Mm.
Would you ever consider coming back up to Santa Pod?
I did go back up there a couple of years ago
Uh-huh.
to have a look at what was going on, and my God, it's changed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's huge, isn't it?
I mean, when a rail goes past up there now, it shakes your entire body.
Yeah, well, they're
I
they're
mean,
10 and 12,000 horsepower now.
it is ridiculous.
Yeah,
It is
no,
ridiculous. I couldn't see
yeah,
myself ever getting into one of those cars, but
no, no, no. But
mind
it,
you, having started with 220, maybe I just wanted to squeeze it up a bit, but I never got tempted. But yeah, it's very different now
yeah,
at Santa Pod.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. So, would you ever consider coming up again, or possibly, see a few people? I'm sure they would welcome you there. John Price and so many other people as well. He was sort of uh, involved with Richard as well, John, on commentary and everything else. But there's a lot of people I'm sure would love to see you again.
Well, that's nothing's off the record. I mean, if it came about and it was all right, I could go, then I would go. But I don't have any plans to go there. But there's no reason why I shouldn't in the future.
Okay, well maybe we'll stay in touch and I'll see what we can suggest it or something. Maybe like Dragstalgia or something like that, because all the cars and that would be there would be the ones that you would remember from back in the day as well, and the hot rods and everything else. So yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah, be
Yeah.
great.
So now let's talk about where you are now. And you're with Heritage Radio. You've got Mike Reed on there and so on. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the reason I'm with it is Mike had been running it now for quite a while. The station. It's called Heritage Chart Radio
Yeah.
for a reason, because there is a heritage chart in there, which is totally different to the main chart for Britain. And the idea is that, and the reason that I love doing the shows is because of the mix of music. First of all, I've always had complete control over the music I play, so I can delve really deep and find some really oddball items that I think listeners would like. But also, the heritage chart side of it is fascinating because it's all artists that we know, like Suzi Quattro, Leo Sayer, all these artists that probably would have a hard time getting played on Radio 2 or something at the
Yeah, because
moment.
even one of your friends, Alvin Stardust, and that there, Mike
Yeah,
Cuckoo and all that, they're the sort of stuff, isn't it? Really?
yeah. But
Yeah,
now these artists are recording new material,
yeah,
and there's a chart for them, the
yeah.
Heritage Chart Top 40. So we are playing their stuff as mixed in with some of the classic old stuff, and it just makes for a really interesting program. And it's great. And I'm doing Sunday morning, 10 till 12, which
Yeah.
is my favorite slot. I don't want to do any more than that.
No,
That one show is fine for me.
and you still
And
produce it and do it yourself and everything. Yeah,
I do everything myself. Yeah.
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 No, that's
Yes,
cool.
I've become quite good at that now.
Yeah, well, I should hope so.
I
I
can
remember,
do that one.
obviously, your radio days, but you also went and linked up with Tony Prince for a little while as well, didn't you? Uh,
Yes, that's right. He was brave. He was trying a new station. Um, and I don't know. It just in the end, it cost him a lot to
yeah.
actually keep it going, and he had to scrap it,
And also, he
which
lost
was a
Christine as well, didn't he? So,
shame.
yeah,
Yeah, that didn't help things. But
yeah. That
no,
was,
it was sad really because he did put a lot of work into it,
he did.
um,
Yeah,
and in the end, it had to just close,
yeah,
which was just a shame. The only thing with Heritage now, Heritage Chart Radio, is that it's sort of what can I say? It's so different from every other radio station.
yeah.
Totally different.
And that's what people
You've
need
got
more.
all the other stuff playing all the 80s or all the 70s, but that restricts you. Why that's what I call narrowcasting.
Yeah,
You want to broadcast, you've got to take in lots of different music. and I can put in all sorts of stuff in there that surprise people. And that's my lot in life, is to
Yeah,
keep them surprised and happy. Yeah.
indeed. And you've been doing it for many, many years, even playing the 7-inch singles and so on, and the carts and everything else on the good ships as well.
Yeah.
You've had a great time with radio. What's your opinion now of radio as it stands now? Because to me, there's no local radio now. It is shots, isn't it?
Well, it's you're right. Local local radio is a thing of the past at the moment because people running stations or advertisers want to cover as much ground as possible.
Yeah,
So they'll put on a breakfast show that will go out in all these different areas. And they'll get a DJ to do that, and then they'll fill in with just somebody playing anything during the day.
yeah,
It just, it's half-hearted.
yeah.
It's not right. It's not done properly.
No,
Um, but it's the way the world is. I mean, is there room for radio at the moment? I think there is.
there is
Um,
definitely. Yeah,
there is, but it needs to be something that will draw people in.
yeah,
Not just go across it like in America. You're in the car and you press buttons till you hear what you want. That was one of the big problems. That
yeah,
the stations in America some of them would play the top 10 over and over.
yeah,
And the idea behind that is if anybody hits the button and gets that station, they'll hear a top 10 record and maybe stay with it,
yeah,
even if it's for a short time. But that's
yeah,
a really weird way of doing things. It's not right.
yeah,
It doesn't give you the choice that you need. So I think that radio needs a good look at it.
yeah.
It needs people to take it a bit more seriously and try and do something a bit different with it. Yeah.
Super. How can people get in touch to listen to your show on a Sunday on Heritage Radio? Is it online? Is it on
It's
Alexa?
on. It's online.
Yeah,
You can get it if you hit your button and say whatever her name is on your thing,
yeah. Alexa,
um,
yeah,
Alexa,
yeah,
and say play Heritage Chart Radio,
yeah.
and you'll find it there. But now we're going on DAB as well in certain areas.
Excellent.
So we're in Kent, all
Oh,
over Kent on DAB, and down the south
excellent.
coast. Yeah, we're getting there now. We're moving up in the world,
Yeah,
and it's a bit of a struggle, I think, for Mike to get the backing behind the station.
yeah,
And the one thing that I don't want to see happen is that some smart ass will come along who's got a station already and say, "Oh, we'll have that," and just take the station on.
no,
And
that is
that would be bad news,
definitely.
because they wouldn't treat it the way it's supposed to be treated. It's just another arm of their station. So I'm hoping that he can get some backing. We
Definitely.
need a multimillionaire to step in,
Oh,
put a few
yeah.
quid in.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? But then
Yeah.
just carry on you guys doing what you do so well.
Well, hopefully, yeah. We try. We try.
So it's a 10 till 12 on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Heritage Charts Radio. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Tune into the man because he is the man. Okay. He is the hairy cornflake. He is the
Good God.
LT. He is fantastic. What a great man. So, Dave, hopefully we can catch up with you very soon. Maybe I'll get in touch anyway, but maybe we can get you to travel up to the pod at some point and come and see us and so on. That'd be rather nice. So, Dave, it's been absolutely fantastic in your memories and everything else, and it's really nice to catch up with you. I know I did an interview with you in a hotel many, many years ago, but this is really, really nice because as soon as I saw Heritage Radio making a comeback, fantastic. This is what we needed so yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
So
That's good. Well, it's been great talking to you. Thank you. I
thank you
appreciate
very
your
much.
questions and everything.
That's all right. Stay there. Just stop recording and I'll have a chat with you afterwards. But Dave Lee Travis, you're a top man. Thank you so much for your time. And good luck with Heritage Radio and to the team there. And bless you all.
Thank you. Cheers,
Thank you.
man.